Hi students, good morning. Today we are going to learn the seventh chapter, that is the outcomes of democracy. In this chapter, we can discuss is democracy is better than dictatorship or other forms of governments by analyzing the main features of democracy. The democracy promotes equality among citizens. It promotes the methods to resolve conflicts. It enhances the dignity of individual. It allows room to correct mistakes, and it improves the quality of decision making. From this analysis, we can understood that democracy is better than the dictatorship or other forms of government. The assessment of democracy's outcomes. The democracy's outcomes can be divided into three. First one is the political outcome, second one is the economic outcome, and third one is the social outcome. The political outcomes have accountable government, a responsible government, and a legitimate government. The economic outcomes were the economic growth and development, and also the reduction of inequality and poverty. The social outcomes were the accommodation of social diversity and the dignity and freedom of the citizens. First of all, we are going to discuss about the political outcomes very deeply. The political outcomes can be based on the accountable government, on the basis of the responsive government and the legitimate government. First of all, we have to analyze the accountable government. In this, the people have the right to choose their representatives and to control them. The citizens have the right and the means to examine the process of decision making. That is the mechanism of transparency. The practices and institutions like regular, free, and fair elections and open public debate is another feature of accountable government. The citizens' right to inform about the government and its functioning is another feature. The contradictions. Democracy produces a less effective government. In democracy, the decisions are delayed. Justification. Some people think that democracy produces a less effective government. Other forms of government do not have to think about the majority opinions and deliberations, but democracy keep in mind in both. Hence, it cannot be called as a less effective government. The democracy is based on the idea of deliberation and negotiations. So, some delays bound to take place and decisions may be both more acceptable and more effective. The cost of time that democracy pays is perhaps worth it. Next, the responsive government. The responsible and responsive to the needs and expectations of the people is known as the responsive government. It promotes the formation of public opinion and cares about the public opinion. Democracy is attentive to the needs and demands of people. It is expected that a democratic government is largely free from corruption and it often sensitive to the people. The main contradictions. The most democracies fell short of elections that provide a fair chance to everyone and in every decision to public debate. The democratic governments do not have a very good record regarding share of information. The justification. All one can say is that democracies have had greater success in setting up regular and free elections. Thus, it is much better than any democratic realm in these respects. The legitimate government. The democracy is a government of the people. It is the particularity of legitimate government. The majority party or group of political parties form this government. Whenever possible and necessary, citizens should be able to participate in decision making that affect them all. It generates its own support to itself. The contradictions. The democracies often frustrate the needs of the people and often ignore the demands of a majority of its population. There are rotten tales of corruption which convince us that democracy is not a clean and responsive government. The justification. Democracy may be slow, less efficient, but not always responsive and clean, but it is people's own government. For example, the evidence of South Asian democratic regimes shows that democracy is a suitable government. Next, we are going to discuss about the economic outcomes. The economic outcomes is mainly dependent on the economic growth, the economic development, and the reduction in inequality of poverty. The economic growth means the rate of economic growth in democracies is slow and gradual in the interest of people of the country. The democracy always seeks welfare and social economic equality. The economic development. In democracies, the economic development depends upon the factors like population size, the global situation, the cooperation, and economic priorities. The difference in the rates of economic development in democracies and dictatorships is negligible. Next, we are going to discuss about the reduction in inequality of poverty. It is expected from the democracies to reduce the economic disparities. The democracies ensure just contribution of goods, incomes, and opportunities. Next, we have to analyze the social outcomes. The social outcomes is mainly based on the accommodation of social diversity and the dignity and freedom of the citizens. The accommodation of social diversity. The democracies ensure a peaceful and harmonious life to citizens. The democracy usually develops a procedure to conduct the competition which reduces the possibility of social tension becoming explosive or violent. The dignity and freedom of the citizens. The democracy stands much superior to any form of government in promoting the dignity and freedom of individuals. The passion for respect and freedom are the basis of democracy. The passion for respect and freedom are the basis of democracy. Democracy ensures the dignity of woman. Equal treatment and equal respect are the ingredients of a democratic society. The principle of individual freedom and dignity have legal and moral force in democracy. Democracy in India has strengthened the claims of the disadvantaged and discriminated castes for equal status and equal opportunities. The most distinctive feature about a democracy is that its examination never gets over. As people get some benefits, they ask for more. People always come up with the more expectations and many complaints. The fact that people are complaining is itself a testimony of the success of democracy. It transforms people from the status of subjects into that of citizens. It transforms people from the status of subjects into that of citizens. The two ways to achieve accommodative outcome. First one, in democracy, majority always needs to work with the minority. The government represents the general view. The second one, democracy remains democracy only. As long as every citizen has a chance of being in majority at some point of time. Now our chapter is over. I hope you understood the main points related with the chapter, the democracy. I am thanking to all of you who patiently watched the whole video. Thank you. Thanks for all. Bye. Take care.